Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Picks to Watch. This time, we're going to be looking at the mid-season invitational main event, where some of the most fun and interesting champions could very well make their way there. Without further ado, let's jump right into it.
First up, we have Kled, the Rift's craziest cavalier, and his cowardly lizard thing mount, Skarl.
You feel like arguing about something?
The cantankerous Yordle fits well into the fast-paced compositions that teams like WE and Flash Wolves like to run. His popularity comes from how well he cuts tanks down to size in the early game, often out-trading his bulkier opponents with ease. Couple this with the fact that tanks have trouble punishing Kled when Skarl abandons him, and you have a recipe for Mint's tank in the top lane. His core build prioritizes his early game damage with a Tiamat and Black Cleaver, but after that it's all tank items, and you're gonna need them. While it may be tempting to use Kled's ultimate to punch a head-on one-way ticket into the fray, it's better to charge in from the enemy's flank to avoid the beefy front line. Once you're fighting the entire enemy team and Skarl decides to make a run for it, it can be tough to stay alive. That is why the shielding from supports like Lulu and Karma can give Kled a fighting chance until Skarl works up the courage to rejoin the fight. Just remember that once he's pressed charge, Kled's on an unstoppable Yordle warpath. Someone's gonna die. Just try to make sure it's the enemy team. Next up, we have the Scourge of Bilgewater himself, Gangplank.
In good time, the fire will find you.
With many go-to picks and tanks being banned away, players are getting creative when expanding their champion pools. While Kled is an obvious candidate, Huni and Expect have taken to charting their own course as Gangplank. As many sailors often struggle to find their sea legs at the start of a voyage, Gangplank is notorious for a weak early laning phase. Therefore, he does well into tanks like Shen and Galio that have a hard time punishing him in lane. If he hasn't walked the plank by the 15 to 20 minute mark, his itemization makes him a mid-game terror. Gangplank's core build of Trinity Force and Ghostblade makes sure he can send nearly any enemy straight to Davy Jones' locker before they can even ask for parlay. One of the greatest strengths of Gangplank is his ultimate Cannon Barrage. Not only does it offer quite the splash in teamfights, it can be great for controlling the tempo of a game by clearing minion waves or helping your team out when the enemy tries to gank. The big problem is he's incredibly reliant on item scaling to be effective, meaning that if he falls behind early on, you'll be left wondering, is the pirate's life really for me? Now it's time to get our groove on with Zilean,
Time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like banana.
the most far-out timekeeper on the Rift. He must have been busy rewinding time because Protect the AD carry comps are back and Zilean fits right in. Utility is baked into his kit, giving him a plethora of options to help his teammates out of a sticky situation. Teams like G2 and SKT have used Zilean in these types of comps, but also as a direct answer to Syndra. He often struggles in the early game, but after gaining a few points in his time bomb, he's got no problem wave clearing, and once he hits 6, kill pressure is a thing of the past. He laughs at Syndra's one-shot potential, easily chrono-shifting himself or his allies as if he foresaw their fate. He has no problem altering the present either, facilitating picks with the speed boost from his time warp allows champions like Rengar and Kennen to make quick work of fleeing enemies. On top of this, his zone control while sieging or taking neutral objectives is great due to the stun threat of his bombs. No amount of clairvoyance can help fix his low damage output though, so he relies on his teammates to dish the damage while he controls the space-time continuum. Lastly, we're going to look at the embodiment of enlightenment, Karma. While she may not be the most exciting pick, she's worth taking a look at as recently both SK Telecom and Team WE have been playing her in the mid lane rather than support. As mentioned earlier, Protect the AD compositions are on the rise and Karma fits the bill. One of her greatest strengths is that she can be prioritized early, given that she can be moved into support should it be better for the composition. Not only that, Karma is considered a safe pick in mid due to her well-rounded kit that excels in a variety of matchups. Her wave clear and poke make for a solid early game, while her focused resolve and inspire keep her safe against otherwise kill-happy assassins. The Maiden of Mantras can take exhaust or teleport to enhance her already solid laning phase, where she often looks to build items like Athene's and Ardent Censer. Karma regularly takes a more supportive role, but after completing her core build, she can move on to building pure damage like Deathcap and Void Staff, turning her Inner Flame into the enemy's Outer Death. In addition, many players take Deathfire Touch over Thunderlords as it better synergizes with her poke-oriented playstyle. While she doesn't struggle in lane, she can't outright carry either. Much like Zilean, Karma is dependent on strong team play, where she can protect and amplify her allies' ability to fight rather than looking to carry the game herself.
That concludes it for this episode of Picks to Watch. If there are any fun or interesting champions that you think could make their way there, be sure to hit me up. Now, the main event will be happening live in Rio de Janeiro on the 10th of May, and you will not want to miss it. Thank you very much for watching, and obrigado, galera.